Capricorn, they laughed at you. But now they'll be surprised by what's coming. Have you ever felt like the world was quietly betting against you? Capricorn? Like every effort you made was underestimated. Every dream you dared to voice was met with polite silence, or worse. Subtle ridicule? They watched you struggle. They mistook your discipline for coldness, your patience for passivity. But what they didn't see, what they couldn't possibly understand, was that you were never standing still. You were preparing. And now, as the stars gather in a once-in-a-century alignment this May, the cosmos delivers its answer. A cosmic doorway is opening, and it's opening for you. This isn't just a forecast. It's a prophecy long written in the bones of the earth. A sacred timeline reawakens under Saturn's gaze, and those who once laughed will fall silent in awe. Because you, Capricorn, are not just rising, you are becoming the mountain. In today's video, we'll uncover the celestial codes behind May 2025 and why this moment marks the beginning of a 7-year ascension only meant for the few who endured in silence. If you've been feeling strange dreams, intense intuition, or witnessing uncanny synchronicities, this is no accident. This is the activation. So stay with me until the end. What you're about to hear might explain what your soul has always felt but couldn't quite name. And if this resonates, like, subscribe, and comment below, because this is not just astrology, this is your awakening. Chapter 1. Enough silence, the time to rise is now. For too long, Capricorn, you've worn silence like armor. You've stayed composed when others cracked. You've waited when others rushed. You chose the long path, the uphill one, because deep down, you always knew shortcuts were never meant for you. But here's the bitter truth. Many mistook your calm for weakness, your consistency for stagnation, your solitude for failure. They didn't know you were building a fortress. What they saw as stillness was actually structure. You weren't idle, you were aligning. And now, in May 2025, the universe has decided it's time the world sees what you've truly become. Saturn, your ruling planet, the great architect of destiny, has been quietly moving into position. This month, it forms a powerful sextile with Pluto and Venus, triggering a rare Earth sign resonance. This alignment is ancient, sacred. It hasn't occurred with this kind of precision in over 2 centuries. And when it does, it activates not just individual fate, but generational restoration. Capricorn, this is your call to emergence. The same people who once questioned your ambition will soon ask for your guidance. The ones who doubted your value will look for your validation. Because the structure you've spent years building within, the inner foundation of grit, self-trust, and quiet endurance, is about to become visible to the world. Loudly. And it won't be because you shouted. It'll be because the results do. But let's be honest, this moment didn't arrive overnight. It came through rejection, through loneliness, through battles fought in silence. Remember those nights you questioned your worth? The projects you gave your all to, only to be overlooked? The invisible labor you poured into everyone else's lives while yours went unnoticed? None of it was wasted. It was, in truth, the soil. And now, your season has come. You might begin to feel strange sensations this month, a sharp clarity in thought, a readiness that wasn't there before. Your energy will shift. People will treat you differently, as if they sense something heavier in your presence. They're not wrong. It's not arrogance. It's gravitas. Even your voice will change. Your words will carry weight. In meetings, in conversations, you'll notice people pause, listen, follow. Why? Because Saturn has unlocked your inner emperor, and when that energy surfaces, even the skeptics become silent. But here's the beauty of it all. You don't need revenge. Your existence, anchored, successful, respected, is the most profound proof that the mountain cannot be moved by wind. And Capricorn, you were born the mountain. So now I ask you, are you ready to step forward, not just into recognition, but into rightful power? Can you release the need to explain yourself to those who never listened, and instead, show them the results? Because May 2025 is not the time for talking. It's the time for revealing. Chapter 2. Earth's Awakening, the Sacred Blueprint of May. Capricorn, do you remember the feeling of being invisible, even in a room full of people? You've spent years watching others receive the recognition, the praise, the platforms, not because they worked harder, but because they were louder, flashier, temporarily brighter. But you weren't meant to flash. You were meant to burn. This May, the Earth herself shifts for you. Saturn, your ruler, enters a harmonious dialogue with Venus and Pluto, triggering what ancient astrologers called the Earth's calling. It's a celestial blueprint that awakens only for those whose roots run deep. And no sign has deeper roots than Capricorn. This isn't about good luck. It's not even about timing. It's about destiny catching up. You are not blooming late. My dear Capricorn, you are blooming on sacred schedule. While others have been rushing ahead in a panic, chasing approval, chasing likes, chasing momentum, you've been doing the inner work. Shadow healing, boundary setting, quiet refinement. While they chased applause, you chased alignment. And now, the blueprint unlocks. You'll begin to notice sacred geometry unfolding in your life. Repeating numbers, unexpected messages, a stranger who echoes your thoughts. A conversation that seems predestined. These are not coincidences. These are coordinates, each one guiding you closer to a version of yourself that has been waiting patiently behind the veil. You'll feel this as a shift in your body too. Your energy field, your aura, is recalibrating. Normally, Capricorn's energy presents as firm, structured, disciplined, but in May, it begins to shimmer with something else: radiance, compassionate authority, a silent command. Think of it like molten gold flowing beneath the surface. You don't have to raise your voice to lead, your presence becomes the signal. And what's more profound, you don't need to prove anything anymore. Because this alignment isn't asking you to chase power, it's inviting you to become power. But there's a caveat. You must release the wounds that kept you quiet. The betrayal of being overlooked. The sting of underpayment. The exhaustion of being the responsible one in everyone's story, but never the celebrated one in your own. These burdens do not belong to your future self. They were teachers, not identities. As Venus brings healing and Pluto demands truth, you are given a cosmic assignment. Clean the house of your soul. Burn what no longer fits. Redefine what success truly means to you. And then, watch what happens. In your career, doors that were rusted shut will creak open. A mentor you once admired from afar may suddenly reach out. Financial opportunities once delayed will come through. The universe will move people, contracts, and timelines to accommodate your rise. Why? Because when a Capricorn awakens fully, the world changes. This is not a metaphor. It's a vibration, a shift in Earth's frequency. One that only happens when a soul as ancient, as determined, as cosmically coded as yours finally steps into its full template. So take a breath. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the weight there? That's the Earth calling her architect back to the throne. Chapter 3. The signs are speaking. Are you listening? Capricorn, you are a master of logic, a planner, a strategist. But this time, your compass is not the mind, it's the whisper. The whisper that wakes you in the middle of the night. The dream that feels like a memory. The coincidence that feels too perfect to ignore. In May 2025, synchronicity becomes your second language. Astrologically, the cosmic doorway opens wider as Mercury exits its shadow and aligns with Neptune. This creates a channel between your subconscious and the divine. Messages will come not through spreadsheets, but through sensation, not through data, but through dreams. You may find yourself drawn to things you never noticed before: an old book, a symbol, a name that repeats across conversations. You might hear a song lyric and feel it speaking directly to your soul. These are breadcrumbs from the universe. Follow them, because the signs have a deadline. This portal of intuitive activation will peak mid-May and slowly begin to fade by the end of the month. But if you stay attuned, it will guide you to the exact people, decisions, and environments meant to amplify your rebirth. The question is, will you listen? Capricorn, listening doesn't come easy to you, not in the mystical sense. You're more comfortable in tangible realities. You prefer action over abstraction. But this month, your evolution requires surrender. Surrender to the unseen. Surrender to the inner knowing that doesn't make sense on paper but feels true in the bones. You may begin to experience what mystics call second sight. Seeing images in meditation, hearing a voice of calm reason when anxiety rises, knowing something will happen before it does. Don't dismiss this. Don't rationalize it away. You are not losing touch. You are reconnecting with the frequency your soul always knew. And if this feels unfamiliar, it's because we've spent lifetimes being trained out of our magic. But magic doesn't disappear, it waits quietly until the right moment. And for you, Capricorn, that moment is now. During this phase, start writing down your dreams. They won't just be dreams. They'll be maps. Pay attention to people who randomly cross your path. Someone you haven't spoken to in years may reach out with exactly the message you needed. Or a new connection may mirror your own unspoken truth. These are not accidents. These are answers. Answers to questions you may not have even consciously asked. But your soul did. And when the signs appear, don't just observe them, act on them. Take the meeting. Return the call. Say yes to what scares you a little. Because that fear? It's not danger. It's expansion. Capricorn, the universe is not testing you anymore. It's trusting you. You've earned this frequency. The key now is to receive it. Chapter 4. Those who doubted you will now knock on your door. There's a quiet satisfaction in being underestimated until it's no longer quiet. Capricorn, you've been the backbone of many lives. The dependable one, the fixer, the silent builder. Yet, in being so dependable, many forgot to wonder, what happens when the backbone finally stands up? In May 2025, you won't need to ask that question. You'll be living the answer. The same people who once doubted your abilities, who dismissed your pace as too slow or your caution as fear, will soon feel an inexplicable pull toward you. They won't be able to name it, but you will. It's the magnetism of alignment. It's the echo of karma. Saturn's alignment this month not only accelerates your professional visibility, it reconfigures your karmic relationships. This is what astrologers call return windows, periods where soul contracts come back around. Not to haunt you, but to ask for resolution. Not every return is reconciliation. Some are recognitions. Let's be specific. If you were born between December 22nd and 31st, it was authority figures who blocked your path, bosses, parents, mentors. You'll now be offered positions or collaborations that directly bypass those figures. Not out of rebellion, out of earned relevance. If your birthday falls between January 1st and 10th, the challenge came from inner circles, family, close friends, lovers, those who claimed to love you but never fully saw you. They will now reach out with offerings, apologies, support, or even admiration. And for those born between January 11th and 19th, your greatest critic has always been you. This May, that voice begins to quiet, replaced by a grounded knowing, I am capable. I am enough. I no longer need to prove myself. Let that truth settle in your bones. And let's be clear, this isn't about revenge. You've outgrown that narrative. The true victory isn't making them regret. The true victory is realizing you no longer need their validation. But don't be surprised when you become the mirror for their awakening. Your calm power will reflect everything they were blind to before. And it might make them uncomfortable. That's okay. You're not here to be comfortable anymore, you're here to be true. And truth has gravity. Expect a moment this month, one that feels almost cinematic, when someone from your past reaches out. Not just anyone, someone who once belittled your dreams. They may offer you an opportunity, or admit they were wrong, or simply say, I see it now. This is not just closure. It's cosmic recognition. How you respond is entirely up to you. Grace, silence, or detachment, all are valid. But know this, that moment will be the sign you've crossed the threshold. You are no longer the Capricorn who needed to be seen. You are now the Capricorn who cannot be ignored. Chapter 5. The 7-year portal opens. Your legacy begins now. Capricorn, legacies are not built in a day. They are carved, stone by stone, heartbreak by heartbreak, by those who are willing to walk alone for as long as it takes. And no one knows this better than you. But what if I told you that May 2025 marks the end of that solitude? What if this is the moment when the weight you've carried becomes the foundation you stand on? The ancients called this window the rising of the earth-bearers, a sacred cycle that opens once every 243 years. It is said to signal the birth of a new era for those born under earth signs, especially Capricorn. In modern terms, we'd call it a 7-year activation, a period of unstoppable forward motion, beginning now, and culminating in 2032. This isn't a typical, good luck, transit. It's a contract, a sacred invitation from the universe. A whisper that says, you've done the work, now step into the reward. But understand this. What's coming isn't just success. It's meaningful success. This cycle will reshape how you experience power. It's no longer about status, it's about stewardship. Leadership that uplifts. Decisions that impact generations. Ideas that outlive you. From mid-May onward, you may begin to feel a shift in how others see you. Not as a colleague, not even as a competitor, but as a guide, a cornerstone, someone whose words hold weight, whose presence shapes rooms, and you'll feel a shift inside. 2. An unshakable sense of purpose will start to anchor itself in your gut. You'll wake up knowing what needs to be done, not from pressure, but from clarity. You'll stop doubting, start building again, not just for survival, but for legacy. This is when it becomes important to get honest with yourself. What do you truly want to leave behind? Where have you been shrinking to make others comfortable? And are you willing to build something so aligned, so sturdy, that it stands even after you're gone? Because the portal doesn't reward speed, it rewards sincerity. So don't rush this new phase. Don't try to mimic others. Don't settle for surface-level victories. Instead, ask yourself the deeper question. Does this honor my truth? And let that truth become your compass. Over the next 90 days, the seeds you plant, ideas, conversations, connections, will take root faster than ever. You'll receive signs confirming your path, a prophetic dream, an unexpected opportunity, a message from someone you quietly admired. Pay attention. These are not random. They are instructions. Capricorn, you've spent a lifetime preparing in the dark. Now the light has found you. Not because you demanded it, but because you became it. Your legacy doesn't start someday. It starts now.